Good evening to another episode of Classic Book Rashad. Let's just get into the Life of the Spirit Study Bible. Time get to 1 Samuel chapter 8, verse 1 through 3. Let's get into it. When Samuel grew old, he appointed his sons as judges for Israel. The name of his firstborn was Joel. The name of his second was Abijah. And they served at Beersheba. But his sons did not walk in his ways. They turned aside after dishonest gain, accepted bribes, and perverted justice. His son Samuel made his sons judges in the southern part of Israel, but they did not follow their father's good example. This was their choice, however. The Bible does not blame Samuel the way it does Eli. Evidently, Samuel had not allowed them to function as priests. Their behavior shows that children of godly parents must still make their own choices. Verse 5 says, They said to him, You are old, and your sons do not walk in your ways. Now appoint a king to lead us, such as all the other nations have. Appoint a king, that means kingship was part of God's promise and his covenant with Abraham. In Jacob's blessing of his sons, he assigned the kingship to the tribe of Judah. Moses foretold of the day when Israel would no longer be content with God's direct rule. That prophecy came to pass here through Israel's demand for a human king. God saw their request as a rejection of himself as king of Israel, and as a demonstration of their eagerness to compromise their role as God's special people. The people asked for a human king so that they would be like all the other nations, with the king to lead us, to go out before us and fight our battles. They mistakenly believed the reason for their troubles and defeats was made inadequately government, when in reality it was their sin. Consequently, they had conformed to the ways of the pagan societies around them instead of trusting in God. Although this was not the time God had chosen for them to have a king, and although their motivation was wrong, God gave them what they asked for. Afterward, he proposed to guide his people in spite of the flawed government of Israel's monarchy, pointing to God's love and patience with human weakness. In verse 7, and the Lord told him, Listen to all that the people are saying to you. It's not you they have rejected. They have rejected me as their king. They have rejected me. That means that up to this time, Israel's government had been a theocracy. God himself ruled Israel as their king. He ruled through direct guidance, through special revelation, the written word, and through the chosen and anointed leaders. When Israel requested a monarchical government, her kings took office by in virtue of hereditary succession, rather than by God's direct choice. This resulted in the reign of evil and moral kings, and thereby impaired God's lordship over his people. At the end of history, God will again resume direct reign over his people, although Jesus Christ, his kingdom, will never end. In verse 22, the Lord answered, Listen to them and give them a king. The same said to the men of Israel, Everyone go back to his town. Give them a king. That means although it was not God's will to give Israel a king at this time, he nevertheless did so. This is an example of history proceeding according to God's permissive will rather than his perfect will. So God permitted the appointment of a king and monarchical government in spite of its eventual trouble and disaster. So number one, to show the need for God's perfect example and thus to foreshadow Jesus Christ as King of Kings. Two, to teach his people that no type of government on earth will resolve their problems or guarantee peace and safety as long as simple people exist. So only in the new heaven and new earth will righteousness reign and complete peace and happiness be the lot of all people. That's it for tonight. I'll be back on Monday, chapter 9 and chapter 10. I'll do two chapters. Chapter 9 and 10. This coming Monday. The final Monday in July. So that's it for the show. Hope you enjoyed it on this YouTube channel. Classic Books with Rashad Mitchell on my YouTube channel. It's going to take a long time for people to tune into this thing that I'm doing on this channel of mine on YouTube. I'm going to continue to preach the word, teach it, give you great teaching from the word of God. Until then, talk to you on Monday, 1 Samuel chapter 9 and 10. The Life of Spirit Study Bible. Good night.